Coming into college is one of the best prospects in the nation. A lot of people were wondering why I chose to go to ASU. Originally, I wanted to play in the SEC like my pops, but every team already had a quarterback. Bama had Milroe, Georgia had Beck, UT had Quinn, and A&M had Wayman. Honestly, ASU was just the highest ranked party school that was letting me start. I tried to find the place where my skills would be best utilized on and off the field, and you'll be able to judge if I made the right choice by the end of my freshman recap. This Wyoming game is a perfect opener as it was really easy just getting adjusted to the speed of the league. Wyoming isn't a really strong team and we were overpowering them on paper, so I want to know what was expected headed into our next game. Came into that game a little slow. Our first time getting hit by an SEC team really had us a little rattled in the first, to be honest. We started down 14-0 and we're doing everything in our power to fight back. Me and my boy 09 finally started getting our chemistry and went for a quick 21 points before half to take the lead. After that, our offense was alive and it was a back and forth shootout from the second half on, but fortunately for us, I brought a Draco to a pistol fight and were able to outshoot the Bulldogs 35-32 to move on to 2-0 headed into our next game against Texas State. Honestly, I was a little disappointed at the fact it wasn't packed in there. Then Marcos be having the women, and I was trying to hit my Money Manziel animations in front of all the Jezebels, but unfortunately it was live in the stadium. To be completely real though, Texas State was a way harder game than I expected. I honestly thought it was going to be a slaughter, but the Bobcats had other plans. The game was pretty much tied or within 7 throughout the whole duration. Every time we tried to turn the corner and pull away, they get that Franklin GTA slipstream and catch right back up. Our offense was doing its job for the most part. I'm finding my boys and we're getting into the end zone, picking up big yards through the ground and air, but our defense just couldn't get that put away stop. We would still thankfully have enough to outscore the Bobcats and escape Texas State with a 31-29 win, and I can comfortably say that the bars were more packed than the game that night. Honestly, even though we were 3-0, I was a little concerned for the team. My goal will always be the natty, and only beating Texas State by 2 points told me we weren't a playoff team, at least not yet. We have our first conference game against 3-0 Texas Tech at the Jones, and this game was huge for us as it was a chance to beat a quality opponent early in their packed house. This game was a big step in my career, not only unlocking my confidence, but also all my Money Manziel animations. If I get to hitting those, I'm basically in takeover. I feel like no one can stop me. You know how my dad talked about he didn't become Money Manziel until after he had his moment? Well, for me, that moment was this game. I'm able to perform against a team everyone thinks is going to beat us, being able to look like Superman in the most underdog of situations. This game right here is what gave me that confidence and dog to feel like I'm the best player in the nation at all times, regardless of what's going on around me. This game was the birth of Money Manziel Jr. It was still a close one, defense giving up another 30 points, but I was coming into form and our offense was just becoming too deadly and Tech couldn't get the last stop as we improved to 4-0 and took over Lubbock. Now sitting at 4-0 brings us to one of the most memorable games of my freshman season. We played 20th ranked Kansas, where all the analysts had us losing this one. They stopped us at first and took the lead, but then we came back down to score. The crowd is going crazy, so I go ahead and hit my dance. They score again, so I'm trying to rush it and tie up the game, and I throw a pick 6 to Marvin Grant. Then as this man scores, he's going to hit my dance in my stadium as we go down 2 scores. Once he hit my dance in my stadium, that meant war, man. So I went ahead and went to the sideline and told my boys we're finna get it right back. We score the very next play. I'm able to hit 09 before half. Then we get the ball again to get us 3 right before the half, and we're right back in the game. We're driving down the field. I'm using my legs, hitting my open receivers, but then I force a pass at the goal line and throw my second interception to Marvin again. After that interception, Jalen takes the ball all the way into the end zone in 2 plays, and then he hits my dance. We're down 2 scores in the 4th quarter, and he hits my dance, man. Watch from the sideline, like there's no way we can lose this game after that, man. That means war. I'm hitting my tight end right here, and I'm going to drop back and hit my receiver to go ahead and put us right back down by 3, headed into the 4th quarter of this game. We're trying to go ahead and come back. Our defense gets a stop, and I'm able to hit 09 on this fade route to get us right back in the red zone, where I'm going to scramble all the way down, hitting all my Money Manziel animations as I'm trying to get this game-winning drive. I'm going to drop back on a 3rd and 11. I'm going to miss my receiver wide open in the back of the end zone, and I just know if we lose this game, this man is going to diss me on Twitter tonight. We're dropping back as our defense gets another stop to find my receiver right here to get us past the 50-yard line, where I'm clapping my hands. I'm getting in rhythm. You see my winning time activating. I'm going to find my slot receiver right there to set us up with the 1st and 10 at the 11. 20 seconds left. I'm dropping back. I'm going for the win. No timeouts left. I'm going to take it myself for the game-winning touchdown with 16 seconds left, and you know what time it is, man. I got to hit my Money Manziel dance as we move to 5-0 on the season, upsetting 20th ranked Kansas and moving ourselves into the polls as we move into our next game against 11th ranked Utah. It was raining. We had practice like hell all week because, again, nobody expected us, ASU, to beat a playoff team. But we went into there and we executed, and to be honest, I never felt like that game was ever in any danger. Our defense got enough stops, and you know by this point that our offense is unstoppable. We moved to 6-0 comfortably and officially put the league on notice, beating 2 top 20 teams back to back. showing we actually did belong on the rankings. We do end up having Cincinnati next, which turns out to be a filler game. They just couldn't hang with us and we ended up blowing them out, as you see by my numbers, as we improved to 7-0, and now we have to play the toughest game of the season, number 5 ranked Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. As you can see, before we even turn on the film, I'm already throwing an interception. The backstory to this game is we're a top 10 team in the nation at the time. I'm getting Heisman votes as a freshman. People are starting to call me the second coming of my dad. The buzz got to my head, and right before the OK State game, the day before, me and my boys went out to a party and woke up with the nastiest hangovers. I was suiting up thinking if this was a college football game, I might be minus 10 to 15 all attributes. We had that Don Julio wear and tear effect and came into the game sluggish. The first half was literally just me trying to sweat out all the alcohol. My mind was foggy, I was making slow reads, and this was the worst the offense had looked since training camp, and this pounding headache is just amplified by how loud the crowd was, and before I knew it, we were down 21-0, just getting absolutely assaulted on the field. It took 2 quarters for us to finally wake up and get back to looking like one of the best offenses in the nation. Once we finally caught our stride, Oklahoma State couldn't stop us even if they had 12 on the field, but unfortunately they never slowed down on offense, and headed into the last drive of the game. We had a chance to win, fighting all the way back from down 20 plus, and I get us all the way down the field where my tight end gets bumped on a wheel that would have been wide open. Then on the final play of the game, my main read runs out of bounds, and by the time I can look to the slot, I'm on the ground and we lose our first game of the season. Honestly, I was disgusted with myself. If I would have just waited one more night to go out, we'd still be undefeated. We'd be a top 5 team in the nation. Now people are saying we may be who we thought they were. I went to the locker room and told the team that was on me, and this would be the last time I ever lost us a game. It was a perfect time to go through this midseason character development, especially as a freshman, as we have an easy UCF team that we end up breezing past on our way to play 7th ranked K-State. It ended up being perfect, the fact that the game was right after. It gave us a chance to prove we were a top 10 team after all and silence the haters from our last showing. This point of the season on, I was completely locked in. Didn't go to a single party or miss a single practice or anything. It was crunch time, and we were primed for a playoff appearance as well as being top 4 in the Heisman race at this time. I was 1,000,000% football, something even my dad struggled with. This is why I want to separate us. The ability to completely focus in on my craft and to become not only one of the greats, but one of the most winningest QBs of all time. I want championships, I want rings, I just want to keep winning, and I promise to never let anything stop me from winning ever again. This mentality propelled us past Kansas State, beating our 3rd top 25 team of the season, right through for 6 touchdowns, and now stood at 2nd place as the only true freshman on the Heisman list, while also leading the league in yards and touchdowns with a solid 40-9 ratio. Where we headed into an easy game where we flooded BYU at home, headed into the last game of the season versus Arizona for the Territorial Cup. Usually this is one of the most important games of the season, but Arizona lost 5th to McMillan, leaving them as a mid-team, and we easily took the desert, finishing the season 11-1 as we headed into the Big 12 championship and a rematch versus K-State. This time around, K-State wasn't playing any games. We had our way with them in the regular season just only 2 weeks ago, but since then they were able to beat Oklahoma State to get a spot in this championship game where most people, including me, were hoping for that OKSU rematch. It was a back and forth game, and the Wildcat offense was on point, but so was ours. I not only wanted this championship win, but this game would also be what would win me the Heisman. Milroe's in the SEC chip, and if he wins and we lose, it's his for sure. I dug extra deep this game because I knew if we could pull it out, I'd be able to join the club my dad is in, winning the Heisman as a freshman. Something I've dreamed about since I was little, and I would be damned to let K-State take it from me. K-State got 2 scores, and our offense was pretty quiet, so here in the 4th, we're trying to seal this game. I'm able to scramble for the first, and then Scat is able to run it for a gain of about 15 yards on the draw. K-State uses their last timeouts. We're able to take the knee, and we are the Big 12 champions as we head into the playoffs. This will give us the 2nd seed and more importantly a 1st round bye headed into the CFB playoff, and on top of that, Alabama is actually going to lose to Oklahoma and they're going to give me the Heisman over Milroe, joining the club that my dad is in, winning the Heisman as a freshman as we get this 1st round bye and head into our first official playoff game against Clemson. Our fans were lit, the attendance was off the charts. It was like energy I hadn't felt ever before in my first playoff game, but Clemson honestly disappointed me. All I was hearing was K Klubnik this, best ACC defense that, just to be beating them 30-0 at half. I even went in the locker room, tweeted out ACC K and Clemson K, and coach ended up benching me for the rest of the game due to the no phones in the locker room rule, but we would win our first playoff game, headed into the semifinals against Oklahoma, the team that beat Alabama in the SEC championship. Throwing this pick at halftime, I can safely say if I didn't go through that OK State game, we would have been food against Oklahoma. Our offense was perfect and their defense was making every drive a hard one. Notice how I said though, if I didn't go through. and not if we. Truth is, our defense didn't have enough, and as this game goes on, you'll see the offense is having to fight with everything we have and play near perfect football to keep us in this game. I was hungrier than ever and desperate to prove that I had enough in me to carry an underdog ASU team past an SEC powerhouse onto the Natty as a freshman. My winning time felt like it was on platinum, and I was hitting all my money Manziel animations. Before I knew it, the fourth quarter had came, and our defense still hadn't done shit, so it was time for me and the offense to either send the game to OT or to send us home. The ball down and scramble to my right and hit my animation as we get the first down out of bounds, trying to get the last drive of the game and send Oklahoma home to send us to the national championship. I'm able to hit back-to-back receivers to set us up inside the 20-yard line. We're on a 2nd and 8. I'm going to drop back. You see the winning time light up, and I'm able to find my receiver wide open as he dives into the end zone for the touchdown. Getting into the end zone and hitting the Heisman pose for me as we take the 46-43 lead over Oklahoma, but they're actually going to go down and kick 3, which is going to send us into overtime at 46 apiece, and we're coming out fighting. I'm going to go ahead and hit my receiver right there to set us up with the 1st and 10. I'm going to go ahead and hit my boy 09 again to give us the lead early in overtime, but Oklahoma is going to go ahead and score and then score again, so now we are down 8 points. We're going to have to score this touchdown and get the 2. I'm able to hit my receiver and then give it to Scat. He's going to run into the end zone, and pending this 2-point conversion, we're going to be headed to our 3rd overtime period of the game. I'm able to find my receiver wide open on the zig pattern as it is now 61 apiece in the semifinal, the biggest game of the season. This is going to be an ESPN classic for sure, as I'm dropping back on our first 2-point conversion, and my tight end is going to drop the ball in the end zone, and then Oklahoma is going to get there too. So now we're down 2 points. If we don't get this, we're going to lose, and my receiver makes a great catch to tie it up at 63 apiece to send us into our 5th overtime period, and my tight end is going to drop the ball on an easy curl, and Jackson Arnold is going to scramble into the end zone, and to end the season off even worse, he's going to go ahead and hit the shmoney dance as we lose 65-63, ending our season in heartbreak in the semifinal, 1 game away from the national championship as Oklahoma steals the Orange Bowl. I played almost perfect, scored over 60, and it still wasn't enough. It was an ugly moment for me. I went to the sideline, cussed out the defense, cussed out the defensive coordinator, cussed out my tight end for dropping the ball twice. I had to get escorted into the locker room by security. It was all over the internet. Sore loser Johnny, fraud Johnny, Johnny can't take responsibility, and blah blah blah. I just went off the grid. I disappeared. All off season, nobody heard from me. Didn't talk to any teammates, any coaches. I had to reflect. And after I reflected, I realized that they were right about one thing. I am a sore loser, especially when it's not my fault I lost. So I finally got up out of bed. I made myself one promise. I'll never have to worry about another team dropping 60 again. So I'm going to have to pull a LeBron, and I'm bringing D-Wade with me. See y'all year 2.